Remix. 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 Remix.
I'm here, y'all. I'm here. I just had to post this to my Facebook page real quick because I'm thinking Amber's going to show up. She might be running just a wee of a tad bit late. But other than that, I'm here. And I see there's a couple of y'all here. Y'all going to have to forgive me. The glare will be happening today because I ain't got it together yet. And I don't have Amber here to read. I told you they just throw y'all to the wolves. But at any rate, good morning. Good morning, Rouse Pasta Sauce. Good morning, It's Art with Words. Good morning, Chiti Macha. Good morning, Jaman. Who is Old Grease? Never mind, it don't matter. Good morning to you. Hey, girl, don't come in laughing. How you gonna come in laughing?
Who is Old Grease? Never mind.
Somebody over here to name Old Grease.
Yeah, and they're funny, and they have great comments. I don't know their real name.
We don't know nobody's real name except us up here on the stage. Good morning, Zero PE. Good morning, Amber. How's your shoulder, your arm, or whatever it was that was ailing you?
It's my shoulder. It's still
Your
hurts,
shoulder.
but it's fine.
Good. Glad
I
to
went
have
to
you.
physical therapy, and they showed me these exercises or whatever, and it kind of helped. But I have to do them for like some more weeks.
You have to what?
I have to do it for a few more weeks.
Oh yeah. Was it some type of accident or
No,
sprain?
I woke up and it hurt, and then it kept hurting for a while.
Oh,
So
you getting old. You getting old. That's what that is.
no,
Yes.
he said I just probably wasn't feeling like the pain during the day or whatever because I wasn't really doing much because I work from home. And then when I was sleeping on it and I could feel it then. So that's probably all it was. It might have been because I sleep on it so much, but he said it also just looked like tendonitis.
Yeah, I have a torn rotator cuff. It's not
That's what I thought. I thought
enjoyable.
I tore my rotator cuff. He said no. I said okay. Excuse me.
All right. So ear doctor came through for me last week because I complained so much, but he didn't spin. He at least kept us company, but he didn't spin. Like, I'm used to the morning show. Oh yeah. I think we should have that on Mondays. I told you, man, Black Liberation Media, they just throw you to the wolves. They not right up in here. They not right, y'all. They not right, y'all.
No, they really just leave us and be like, all right, figure it out.
Yeah, bye. I'm not supposed to be talking excrement about my Black Liberation Media comrade. So I'll stop for now. Even though it's true. But anyway, they just throw you to the wolves.
It's true.
It's true. Look at us. We ain't got no DJ in the background.
No, nothing.
I don't even know where the slap the map button is. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I know what that is.
Okay, cool. All right, so
Tommy's funny as hell. Hold on, let me just close my door.
How you gotta? Okay, never mind. I'm not going to because I know why you got to go off camera. But anyway, so last week
I only went off camera because I didn't want them to see how thick I was. I do have on pants, Tandy.
Am I telling on myself? Probably.
Yeah, pants on.
No, I'm gonna be going off camera too. I don't want to hurt nobody either, so
I'm saying, some folks might get jealous.
Hey, we looking out for y'all.
You could become obsessed. I know a few people like that.
You gotta watch these internet stalkers, man.
I'm just saying, I don't want an internet stalker. I'm scared of those. So, it's crazy. There's so much happening in the world, though, Tandy.
I got so much. And you know what? There's at least one or two stories on here that I wanted to get to, if not last week, the week before. So these are going to be, they're old and stale in terms of news, but they're still important. So at some point, we're going to talk about that. But yeah, it's so much going on.
I just said that's signs of aging. I don't think so.
Huh? Say what?
Chichimasha said, yeah, those are signs of aging. I said, I don't think so.
Oh, no, it actually is. It really is.
I think I was just doing too much.
Okay. All right. Well, being in denial is a sign of aging too. It's all good.
And that's fine. I ain't never broke nothing. I ain't never torn nothing. I ain't never sprained nothing for real. So realistically, it happening wasn't a big deal. But I did think that I had torn my rotator cuff, so I was Googling what that was like. And I said, oh, never mind. I didn't do that.
Yeah. Oh, I'm kind of like, ain't nothing wrong with being seasoned, Amber. Yeah, there's seasoning and then there's old age. But at any rate, how you want to do this morning? I feel like deferring to you.
Oh, you're so funny.
Because I don't want to take stuff over. Not that I've been accused of taking stuff over. I just know me. I
would like to talk about the stories that you want to talk about, because I do have two stories also. I did just wake up 6 minutes ago. I was having an insane dream. Insane. I don't know what kind of sleep you was getting, but I woke up. I was literally dreaming the craziest shit, drooling, having the time of my life.
Not the drooling.
Boy, I said the dream started getting real good. I said, I need to get up. I'm supposed to be doing something, and I was right.
Oh God, that's hilarious.
I knew it immediately. I said,
you know what?
I know what's happening here.
Okay, so the search function on Instagram ain't worth a. On my phone is cool, but this right here is just. There it is. That's what I was looking for. Who is this? No, I don't know who you are, Ms. Lewis. Okay, well that'll work too. All right, no problem.
Somebody said, ain't nothing wrong with being seasoned, Amber. We love to see it. I do love to see it, but I'm 30. Let's be serious here.
She thinks that means something, y'all, but okay.
I do think it means something. I'm not that goddamn old. I'm not even old.
Okay, all right.
I'm a youth.
You're a youth. Okay, I think I found it. I think I found what I was looking for. So, and I thought there was a video, but I'm not seeing the video. So, this is just on the one hand, let me go on and get my screen ready. Let me share my screen. So on the one hand, we got this right here. This is one of the stories I want to talk about. Can y'all see that? So recently, a decision was made at Howard University for their student athletes. This one in particular is talking about the women's basketball team. It's saying that now there's no more kneeling a la Colin Kaepernick when the national anthem is played at their games. So it's saying at Howard, athletes must stand for the anthem or stay in their locker room. And I thought I had a recent video. There was a recent video. I know I saw it somewhere of a game since this has happened where only the other team was on the court for the anthem. The whole Howard women's basketball team stayed in the locker room, and then they came out. And so folks are mad. They are mad about it. I don't want to stop sharing the screen. But now
I was just when you said that, I said that meant all of them should stay in there. So I'm glad they all stayed in there. Because what the fuck?
All right, it's text spicy, y'all. There we go. No, is that it? Okay, hold on. Let's see. There we go. Help me out. For years, now this is dated March 16th. For years, Howard University's women's basketball team has been taking a knee to protest the mistreatment and brutalization of Black Americans by law enforcement. But on Wednesday night, again, this was March 16th, at a game between Howard and South Carolina State University, that tradition, which had been a source of pride for many players and students, came to an end. During the national anthem, only one team was on the court. As fans stood across the Norfolk Scope Arena in Norfolk, Virginia, the Howard women's basketball team remained in the locker room to adhere to a new policy from the Howard University Department of Athletics that bans, that's the word they use, bans kneeling during the anthem and requires standing. The athletics department issued the policy earlier this month and gave the team the option of remaining in the locker room during the anthem. Some members of the team reiterated the purpose of their protest. Coach Ty Grace has instilled in us that it's bigger than kneeling, said senior forward Xenia Thomas at a press conference after the game. I mean, we're supporting a cause that's been going on since 2020. Unfortunately, we have to abide by certain rules, but we're still going to stand on our beliefs and our morals. Now, it may have been that Norfolk game. I don't really remember, but like I said, there was a video out there somewhere that showed the court. And this is coming from Capital B news source. So like I said, on the one hand, we got that. Uh-oh, where'd it go? Here we go, hold on. And on the other hand, oh, that's also Capital B. Okay. Let me go on back to Capital B. So on the one hand, we got Howard University. And I'm trying to find the actual news article. There it is. Both of these are coming from Capital B. And on the other hand, go back to sharing screen. Florida A&M, also known as FAMU. After FAMU signed an ICE deal, students demanded answers and were met with silence. The school is one of more than a dozen Florida colleges that have
It's not sharing.
ICE. What? It's not showing?
The screen isn't sharing.
I'm up here. That's because I didn't click share. Is it showing now?
Yes, ma'am.
Told you I'm tech spicy. Y'all got to work with a sister. Is it filling up the screen at least? Nope. Hold on.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's just, because they got that little thing on the side.
I'm tech spicy. That's what it is. Hold on. Okay. So I was saying, the school is one of more than a dozen Florida colleges that have partnered with ICE amid a statewide push for closer immigration enforcement. That was March 12th. The signs read, ICE out, refuse, resist, fight fascism, and other slogans common at protests against the federal immigration crackdown. But the protest was not in the streets of one of the U.S. cities where residents were turning out by the thousands for days on end to demand an end to the crackdown. It was on an HBCU campus. This is Florida A&M in Florida. So, who was that? Other than Spike Lee in School Days, I remember reading years ago. It wasn't in Claude McKay's Man-Child in the Promised Land. It was not Claude McKay, whatever his name was. The dude that wrote Man-Child in the Promised Land. What's his name? I forgot his name. Claude somebody. Somebody interviewed him. And I'm not even sure what he was talking about, but he brought up Howard University. Huh?
Claude Brown?
Maybe it was Claude Brown. And he said, he was talking about Howard, or maybe he was talking about all HBCUs. But basically, he's like, they're worthless, burn them down, and plant cotton where they stood. That way they'll be useful. And I was like, oh. Black colleges are so reactionary. Can be so. No, they are reactionary. Mm-hmm. By nature, they are reactionary. By nature, they're conservative. But, everything happens in waves, depending upon the students that are there at the time and what's going on. You'll have a wave of consciousness. There were, Howard was one of the few Black colleges during the late 60s that had a takeover when the white institutions were being taken over, like Northwestern University, where Dr. James Turner was. And they burned one of their professors in effigy. He was so awful. Then they had another takeover in 89 or 90 when Ross Baraka and April Silver were students. So, Howard can get busy, but anyway,
Yeah.
some of these, very few. I think during the Rodney King rebellion or one of those rebellions, the Atlanta students was wrecking shop. I'm using all my old slang. But other than these, I don't know too many black colleges that or black, should I say, black college student bodies. Maybe I should do it like that, because, like I said, by nature, by design, they're conservative. Hell, they kicked out. Was it Alice Walker? Alice Walker got kicked out. Um, Bernice Johnson Reagan, founder of Sweet Honey and Rock, they got kicked out of Spelman because they were doing too much. Gwendolyn Simmons, SNCC organizer. Maybe it wasn't Alice Walker, but Gwen Simmons, SNCC organizer. They kicked her out. They be doing too much, man. They be doing too much. Too much of the wrong thing. These black colleges, these black institutions where our talented 10th comes from. So you got one that is the athletics department. I didn't check the entire article to see if the athletics department came up on it on their own or if the administration told them, just to see if it was in the article. But according to this article, athletics department issues a new policy banning kneeling. Then you got FAMU over here having entering into contracts with ICE enforcement. Not a good look.
Some of the comments said, I do know somebody said I need to have at least 50 more years on me before I'm considered old. I do know that. I saw that comment.
Yeah, okay, right. So anyway.
And then someone else said, I believe this is a response to complaints from HB women kneeling before games against the U.S. military academy.
You believe what was in response to complaints?
They have to stay in the locker room or stand for the national anthem.
Oh, complaints from West Point, probably. Because I was like, I know Howard didn't complain about it.
Right.
That could have been.
No, they definitely didn't. FAMU administrators keep showing just how much they're not for the people. Yeah.
Matter of fact, isn't FAMU the school that just got a new president that has nothing, absolutely no knowledge at all of black colleges or something or another? I don't think she has. She's not trained as an educator, let alone anything. Wow. Okay.
This is so true. Yuladama said they have a new push on the algorithm that is designed for certain communities, mostly communities, to be against immigration. I definitely have seen people pushing talking points like that. I'm not seeing them, but I have friends who are, and they fall for the propaganda. I say, y'all believe any damn thing.
That's because the president is MAGA. She wasn't qualified for the position and chosen by the good. Yeah, that's the one I heard about. Nobody wanted the current FAMU president. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. But yeah,
when they dry up because the people stop donating, then they'll be like, "Oh, I guess this was a bad idea."
Which brings us to the next item up for discussion. Wait a minute, did we slap the map? We just jumped into stuff.
I got it.
Well, listen, hold on. Y'all now talking about doing too much. The body starts producing new cells at 28 years old. It's essentially downhill from there. Don't be in denial about aging. Take appropriate actions along the way. First step is acknowledgement. Can we please stop talking about age? Amber, you get no end of discussion. Can we move on, please, people?
No, we can't. First of all, I don't have an issue with aging. I was just pointing out that my shoulder wasn't hurting because I was aging. It's hurting because I was doing some other shit.
We're pointing out that it is aging.
No.
Now, can we get back to the issue at hand?
My extracurricular activities. But okay, sure.
I miss. See there, we need a DJ and the slapping. Anyway.
You said we needed a DJ and to slap the map, so I could only give you one. Unfortunately, my DJ career has not launched yet. You're muted. Tandy, you're on mute.
Oh, it automatically kicked me on the mute when you slapped the map. Why it didn't come back? Because I'm not the one that slapped the map, I guess. But at any
No, mine was muted too, but I have a mic that has a little tap button thing. I just tap it.
I was saying I wish we could play that whole song.
Wait, I was gonna.
You can't go wrong with Fela, huh?
I was gonna talk about this, but I did want to talk about what's happening before that.
Okay, go ahead, man.
Because I don't know if other people know that there's a government shutdown right now.
I forgot, actually. I forgot.
Yeah, so I want to talk about that because I feel like a lot of people don't know that there's a government shutdown. But let me pull up this article I was reading and share it. Okay, here it is. I was like, where'd it go?
I'll be right black.
I'm screaming at black. Okay, so I don't know if folks remember when the first vote was happening, like early in January around ICE to fund DHS, and there was this huge push around not funding ICE because of them murdering people, obviously, and kidnapping folks and the way they treat people, like just the conditions they're putting folks in these detention centers, the entire like system of what's happening to people. And the Democrats were like, okay, we're not gonna, support it. Then the House Dems were on messaging. They didn't support it. But then the Senate Dems, some of them flipped and they agreed to fund the Department of Homeland Security, which funds ICE, for 2 weeks. That for a while. So after that 2 weeks was up, the funding dried out in like mid-January-ish, no, mid-February-ish. So they were working without paychecks at TSA this entire time.
Oh,
I feel like it's not being talked about as much because people just didn't really know because it's not a full shutdown, but it's a government shutdown that's affecting specific departments. So this article said more than 400 Transportation Security Administration workers or TSA agents have quit since a partial government shutdown that began on February 14th left them working without pay, the Department of Homeland Security says. I also saw reports of people sleeping in their cars because they didn't have the gas to go to and back from home. And a lot of people were quitting too.
I saw where people were saying they were in lines for hours and end up having to go find a hotel room and then come back. They hoping to come back today to the airport and get a flight home. Lines are wrapped around the airport.
Yeah, the big airports. I remember like they were saying in February they were going to stop global entry and TSA pre-check. And I was like, okay, cool. But then that only lasted for like a day because so many people was complaining about it. So they did bring it back, but they still don't have enough TSA agents. And I was like, this is so selfish.
I heard the pre-check is not, what is it? I don't know. The pre-check ain't what.
The pre-check just means that you pay extra money to not have to take your shoes off.
No, I mean, the pre-check is not helping. They may have brought it back, but it's not really helping that much.
No, it's not. Because there's not a lot of people who have pre-check for global entry. So it's just not helpful. So the funding was shut off to DHS over demands by Democrats for reforms at ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement and Customs and Border Protection following alleged abuses and the fatal shootings of 2 citizens by federal agents in Minneapolis earlier this year. There's been a national call-out rate of 10% at TSA on more than half the days of this week. Warren Biss, the acting assistant secretary for public affairs at DHS, said Saturday in response to questions. TSA, which is under Department of Homeland Security, has around 60,000 employees. Of that number, 50,000 are frontline officers. So for security at the nation's airports. Of the TSA agents who quit during the shutdown, almost half have over 3 years of experience, and a third have over 5 years, the agency said. Some TSA workers have expressed fears about unpaid bills and worse, because they aren't being paid. Of course, I would have quit too, hell. Like Tony was saying, there's increased wait times and frustration at airports due to the shutdown. And the highest nationwide call out rate during the shutdown came on Friday at 10.22%. JFK Airport in New York City had a call out rate of 29.5 on Friday. The Houston Intercontinental Airport had a rate of 36.6 the same day.
Dang.
And Houston Lobby had a call out rate of 51.5 on Friday.
Over half.
Yep. And that's why it took so long to get through the airport.
What about Atlanta? Because isn't Atlanta supposedly the busiest airport?
It's a big airport, but they didn't list it in here. But I kind of want to know now. In the U.S. Senate on Saturday, by the way, this article is from March 21st. So,
yeah, Saturday.
I just want to make sure y'all knew that too. In the U.S. Senate on Saturday, a Democratic bill to fund just TSA workers, but not the rest of DHS, failed to get the 60 votes needed to advance. The 41-49 vote was along party lines. On Friday, Senate Democrats voted down Republicans' effort to pass a bill to fully fund DHS. And Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and the House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, both Democrats from New York, have called for reforms at ICE. Fuck ICE. Anyway, in February, they outlined the reforms they want to see, which includes an end to what they called indiscriminate arrest, a prohibition on ICE officers wearing masks, and an end to what they say was racial profiling by the agency. First of all, they're not going to do none of that shit, which is why they just need to abolish ICE. But whatever.
First of all,
they just,
shit.
What'd you say?
First of all, they're not going to do none of that shit.
They're not. The administration has blamed Democrats for the shutdown, calling it the Democrat DHS shutdown. So much so, by the way, that there is a website that says Democrat DHS shutdown on the government website. Because one thing about that nigga Trump and his people, they love an antic. Boy, they love an antic. Somebody said, I travel for work. I just rented a car and canceled my flight. I did too.
Don't have to.
I had travel last week. I didn't fly, and I had to travel for work in a few weeks, and I'm not flying. I'm just gonna drive because it's easier. It's not even worth it, and because of the shutdown stuff too. That's why the flights are so high. I was like, nah. See, I think y'all gonna get us, but you're not. I'm not doing none of that shit. But I want to make sure we started with that article so people have the background for the other article Tanya's gonna share.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm just like, my God, these people need to pay these damn people. How do you not? I
mean, honestly, I'm not gonna hold you. A part of me don't give a fuck because we shouldn't have TSA agents anyways. Like, there really is no need for them. Like, this idea of airport security. The only reason why we have to do all of that is because of what our country has done to other people's countries, and so now they're afraid of what someone might come and do here because they're fucking trifling. If you wasn't out there being colonialists and taking over people's country, colonizing people's places, being white supremacists, putting in all these military bases in people's countries, we wouldn't have these issues.
You wouldn't have no problems.
What you scared of? The bullshit that you started, that's what you're afraid of. So I just think that I hate that they create these like solutions that only impact people, like the actual people here flying, doesn't impact the government at all. But they got to do it because they know they be fucking up.
Looks like we got a little video here.
Yeah.
Where's the? Oh, hold on, let me.
So I will just also preface, I know this was going viral yesterday, so I want to make sure we talked about it today on the show.
Okay, hold on. Hold on. No, I'm text spicy. Oh, I thought it was
actually. It ain't no word.
What?
It ain't no sound. They just showing words on the screen.
I just clicked it, did the thing, but all right. For the volume. That's New Orleans. I was wondering about Chicago. Spring break travel season. So
from now on, I would drive wherever I have to go until they get this figured out. It was horrible.
Yeah, I was wondering about Chicago and Atlanta. So yeah, ICE agents.
I actually fully agree. I think that making people work for free is dehumanizing, which is why we should just not make them work and let us just go through the fucking security things. Like somebody else said, we have full body scanning tools. We got them in our airport too. There are police on the planes usually, and there are animals walking back and forth, smelling you and shit. Just let them go through. If you really had something, they would have found that shit. I don't think it's okay to make people work for free.
No,
I
it's
think
not.
that we niggas go home. Also, the ATL airport has 40% of TSA out. And they said, I agree that TSA is a result of our own doing, but the people on the ground are usually from lower income communities and suffering most.
Who's on doing? Who's on doing?
Is our own doing like the government? When I'm saying
No,
that the government
the
created,
government, not our doing. The government,
yeah.
not
I
our
mean,
government. The government,
yeah.
the
I think
president.
that when I hear that, I think of how people say like, we shouldn't be so upset if people becoming police officers because they need a job. I'm not gonna hold you. That's what it makes me think of. Or like, we shouldn't judge people who join who become corrections officers because they put jails in
All right,
low income communities and people
I'm,
need jobs. Like that's what I
I'm
because
hurt.
I hear that rebuttal all the time. The TSA agents, especially now that you know that our government will shut down multiple times because they had that long ass shutdown last year, and now we're in a partial shutdown because of what's happening in the world. You should have quit and got a new job anyways, to be real. But one, you should have never got the job. You should have never agreed to do some shit like that because it is just policing niggas, to be real. But I feel like the only thing I don't like about TSA the most is just how they be feeling on people. I feel like I be doing too fucking much. But if you realize that the government gonna keep shutting down, just get a new job. Like you don't have to do something different. Like the other article I read was
Wasn't it?
like they only making like at the lower end, like when you first start, you're only making like 36K. You can make that at McDonald's.
You just got to
I'm
work
saying
hard. You know?
you could work at a department store and make that. So I would encourage people to quit. And I think that also by quitting, then they force the government to reform the system that we don't want anyways. Because if all of y'all quit, or at this point half of the folks have quit or they're calling out, it does force them to try to figure out something different. Because what they're not gonna do is close down the airport.
Mm-hmm.
They're not gonna do that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want them the thing they do different to be ICE agents, but I want the thing they do different to be, oh, we don't really need all this shit. We can just use these machines. You just go through these machines and we're done. That's it. It's not that fucking hard.
No, it's not hard at all.
Zero PE said I make 36K doing the Uber Eats. Exactly. Like 36K extra ain't shit.
That's a good question. Do they?
Manifesto said they think I'm packing something in my hair. They do have labor unions, Selah.
Which would be federal, and we know what Reagan did with the air traffic controllers. So what is the status of their union, of their movement? I don't know. That's a good question.
Well, I think this is an interesting point too. They say it goes beyond just a financial incentive. It's also a power incentive and a system acceptance.
Mm-hmm. It's buy-in. It's always a buy-in. There's always a buy-in.
This is also an interesting question that TJ asked. Are you required to answer the questions if pulled aside by TSA, or do most people answer because it makes the process faster? I've never gotten pulled aside, actually. I've only had my bag's only been pulled aside like once or twice. I've never been pulled aside to ask like specific questions about me, like take it to a room or anything. But I actually probably would comply because I want to get put on a no-fly list. I'm scared of more in the world and being put on a no-fly list. I'm not gonna hold you because if I need to get out this motherfucker, I'm trying to get up out this motherfucker. And the way the country going right now, we might need to get up out this motherfucker. So I ain't trying to get on nobody's no-fly list. I'm not gonna hold you. I just be like, what you need to know. But they've never done that to me. And I only know one person who got pulled like to a room when they were flying internationally in New York one time. But they were just asking basic questions. It wasn't like they were in trouble or nothing. They just didn't have some documentation right. They was asking about it. Art with Words said the power of the union has been diminished greatly, not just over the past couple decades, but even just this past couple months with this administration. Very true. And I also think, realistically, I think we're seeing in real time what a reformation of a system could look like, right? Like because of them not funding DHS, it's causing them to have to figure out other things and other systems.
Mhm.
And they need to realize that they're gonna have to just let the TSA agents go. But bring up the full article, Tandy, about the ICE thing.
Oops, I just got rid of it.
Because someone else just asked this. I want to make sure we answer the question. Is the ICE deployment real, and do people think that it will result in the same levels of violence and abduction?
Is it real?
They're talking about the deployment to the airport.
That was so I don't. I'm not logging into the New York Times. Hold on.
If you drop the link, I'll try to open it too.
Okay. There's the link.
I agree with Dre. And TSA armed workers, they are cops. They definitely the police. And I also feel like niggas become TSA agents because they do want that little bit of power, and they couldn't become police officers. They couldn't run that little mile. They couldn't make it to the company. So they became a TSA agent.
Mile down. Oh Lord. All right, so.
Whoa. That was at the ATL airport, and someone found out they were on the no-fly list in real time. Yeah, what they do? How they find out? What happened?
In real time. Updated 15 minutes ago. Trump administration live. ICE agents are expected to deploy at U.S. airports.
So the article I read said that they had till Monday.
That's today.
I know.
JFK Airport. Hold on. 17 minutes ago. ICE officers were at Newark Liberty International Airport as early as 6 a.m. Monday. One 4-member patrol strode down the halls of Terminal C wearing vests inscribed with the letters ICE. They wore no mask, nor did they appear to be carrying weapons. They declined to answer questions from a New York Times reporter.
What's the point of them being there if they aren't helping with the security thing?
ICE agents will help TSA at airports amid the partial government shutdown, Holman says. Tom Holman. So, all right, so this is the New York Times.
The first paragraph where it hit the little timestamp thing. Yeah, right there. Up just a little more. Up, Todd. Go the other way. You're going down.
What you want? What you want?
The first paragraph.
Right. Which one?
Right there. What we're covering today.
Okay, that. Stop laughing.
I'm sorry.
Real quick, but hold on. This guy is saying that they've deployed to Newark. Mm-hmm. There's another headline? When I was over here looking in Google, it said that they were expected to show up at Atlanta Airport momentarily.
That's all I'm trying to see if this part where it says what we're covering today hit other airports in there.
Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Share this tab instead. This is from Business Insider. The largest federal workers union says untrained armed ICE agents should not replace TSA. Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
That's today, March 22nd. So that's the other day at noon. They are not trained in aviation security. TSA officers spend months learning to detect explosives, weapons, and threats specifically designed to evade detection at checkpoints, skills that require specialized instruction, hands-on practice, and ongoing recertification. You cannot improvise that. I think it was Michael Moore who did the documentarian guy or mockumentarian guy. Mm-hmm. It was years ago, right after 9/11. He did a thing that showed it was all bull. All of these, it was like the security that y'all need to be doing, you're not doing. And you replace it with bull-ish. I usually cuss a lot, but I'm trying not to cuss so much.
You should cuss. It's fun.
Oh, I love cussing, but the Remix Morning Show, I'm trying to be more journalistic.
I'm screaming.
So anyway. Yeah, just the fact that, y'all, if you can, that's the caveat. If you can, drive wherever you need to go.
Yeah.
Yes, I know the price of gas. Do you want
my limit is 7 hours, so I got to take one flight, but that's about it. Everything else I'm driving to.
I know the price of gas, but You got air traffic controllers, TSA. You just, if you can, drive, because this is
It's just
kind of crazy.
easier.
Oh, the slipping, cursing, and correcting it is making me feel at home. That's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
I remember,
Jay
yeah,
said, "Oh, go ahead."
what New York City airports need to worry about is getting vehicles off the runways. We had Canada airplane attempted to land, crashed into an airport vehicle on the runway. Yeah, that was over the weekend, wasn't it? They had get in the car and drive. Get in the car and drive. That's just not.
Yeah, just drive.
They
Jay
always want to.
said,
They always want to put forth that statistic. You're safer in the air. They're more likely to die in a car crash than a plane crash. I'm not going to take my chances on the ground. Thank you very much.
I've only been in one car crash, and it wasn't really a crash; it was a little bump. So I'll take that.
I like being closer to the ground. I'm not trying to hear all of that.
Jay said again, TSA are supposed to cover planes, trains, and automobiles. They are the cops and have been since they came about after 9/11. What's so interesting is that I've never seen them on trains, like
Mm.
Amtrak and all that stuff. I've never even seen like major security. Like I seen like the train conductor guy one time and the people on the train, but I actually have never seen like security people like that. Like they didn't even have like pepper spray or a weapon or nothing.
Yeah, I don't remember that either.
Someone else said to rent an electric vehicle. And I just want to say, if you rent an electric vehicle, no, that shit gonna take you longer to get where you're trying to go. Because you gotta keep stopping to if you're going like kind of far, you gotta stop to charge the car up. That's all I'm saying. It's our word said, you should curse, it's fun. New Amber slash BLM merch. I agree. Let's send it to Renee. Let me send it right now while I'm thinking about it.
That's a week ago. As stale as I don't know what. Trying to find some stuff that's awfully stale.
Yeah, I just think that what's happening with TSA is really going to cause a major shift because for once in this situation, the Democrats are standing on business a little bit right now. And because of that, we're seeing some results. We're seeing some responses.
I'm sorry, say again.
I said they're gonna have to figure out what they want to do because for once the Democrats are standing on business a little bit, so now they're gonna have to figure out what they want to do.
How was that? 60 years too late? 60, was it 60 days and late and $60 short? I don't know. They standing on business. Anyway. Never been on a plane. I drive
That's
everywhere.
what I said. That's why I said it's like they're standing on business a little bit, but that's about it. It ain't nothing. It ain't nothing to run home to mama about, as the older people be saying. Is that the little thing I be saying? I don't know. I don't know the whole thing. Is it? Ain't nothing to run home about or something like that. I don't know.
Right home about. It ain't nothing to write home about. Not run home.
See, that's how you know I'm a youth.
You're a youth. Okay, I'm trying to find my stories. I can't see. I didn't covered most of them. I just wanted to get those main ones out. TSA.
My bad. My dog is under me. I'm sorry, guys.
TSA, DHS, and these black colleges. Okay. I'm sure I'm missing something, but I don't have bandwidth nowadays. I'll be zoning out. I'll be like, oh, really? And then keep scrolling. Oh, wow. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. Which is why I brought up stories that are 2 weeks old? Stories are 2 weeks old.
But I mean, they still relevant.
Yeah.
My bad. My dog is under my desk, so I'm trying to get him to move. He likes to lay under there. So he's just sprawled out under the desk. And you want to get out the way. I did have a few stories. Oh yeah, as I said, it's an election year, and that does make them want to do the right thing a little more. But I mean, I would say I still feel like even though they're doing all of this, they're not gonna vote for the right thing that we want. Like the reforms that they were talking about, we don't want none of that shit. Other than not wearing the mask, we just want them to stop doing stuff. Like just no more ICE. Like literally, we said abolish ICE, we meant that, and they acting like they don't understand.
You say we meant that shit.
Right? Like, why are you acting slow?
Been saying that for years. Yeah. All right, I got one for you. Where is it? Where'd it go? I hate when that happens. Oh, there it is. See there. You have to excuse me. I'm usually on my phone.
It's okay.
I'm usually on my phone. So now I'm sitting here in the desktop and everything has not transferred over. This was one of the stories I wanted to cover, which is also old. You know about the, well, no, hold on. About the, you know about the African soldiers in Ukraine, right?
Mm-hmm.
That they're promising Africans from Ghana and other countries, they're going to hook them up if they come to Ukraine. But as soon as they get there, they put a gun in their hand, throw them in a uniform, and send them out on the front lines to fight Russia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there it is. Jesus, it shouldn't take this long. Amber, I'm sending you a link. My God. Text spicy. It don't be my fault half the time, though. It's this man. It's not my fault. Okay, there you go. It's okay. No, it ain't.
It is not that big of a deal to me, but that's just me. I don't give a fuck.
Ah!
My bad. That's all. I don't give a damn. I don't give a fuck. Yeah. Okay. No care in the world.
Ooh, okay, you got that? Okay.
You need to know about the Strait of Hormuz that you didn't, that Trump didn't. Okay.
So yeah, the oil, the price of oil, tankers going through the Strait of Hormuz. Who's not going through the Strait of Hormuz? Why is the Strait of Hormuz important? And how
my
come
little
Trump
junk keeps saying free the strait. I said exactly. The gas going up. And nigga said free the strait. I said period.
Free the strait.
I said free the strait. He posted a video. He said free the strait.
Free the Strait of Hormuz.
Later, I said, damn, this whole almost $4. Free the strait. Free the strait. Oh my God.
There it is. Okay, I found my Jesus. All right. Yeah.
You want me to read the slides?
Huh?
You want me to read the slides?
Yes, would you please?
Yeah.
I don't know what my password is.
Number one, where it is on the map. Bordered by Iran to the north and Oman and the UAE to the south, the Strait of Hormuz connects the oil-rich Persian Gulf to the Gulf of the Oman and the Arabian Sea. It's only 24 miles wide at its narrowest point. Shipping is restricted to a pair of 2-mile wide lanes, one outgoing, one incoming. It's the only passage out of the Gulf to the rest of the ocean. And there's an image here that I think is kind of good. They kind of explain how they come through. Number two, it's the world's most important waterway. The strait facilitates over 1/5 of the world's oil shipments. In fact, this war is causing the world's largest oil supply disruption in history. Thanks to geography and political tension, there's no real alternative to the strait. Try as they might, Saudi and UAE pipelines can only carry a small fraction of the energy, and even then are vulnerable to attacks from insurgent groups like the Yemeni Houthis. Iran's closing of a single waterway in the Persian Gulf could provoke a global recession and topple the foundation of U.S. power. Let's do it. I'm sorry. Oh, no.
Yeah, don't sound so excited, sis.
Not they said we got to read more as a TL.com. Girl, let me look up the website.
Yeah, so that's, what's his name? Mehdi Hassan. Didn't he get kicked from? They either kicked him out of MSN or he left. And now he started Zatel.
Him?
Yeah, that dude, that guy. He was giving folks hell.
Just hit 1 million followers on Instagram. Zatel.
I remember him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I found out about him because I don't usually pay attention to MSN. I found out about him just before he got kicked off. I was like, dude.
Mm-hmm. I like Mark Ruffalo. He's interesting. He's an interesting white guy.
Yeah, he is.
Not they want me to subscribe to see the little thing. Okay, here you go. Everything you need to know. Let me find the other what were we on? Child.
84 moves.
Never mind. We can't look at it because it's saying I gotta be a paid subscriber, so we fucked.
All right, y'all, go to Zateo for more info.
You gotta be a paid subscriber on Zateo. That's what I'm saying. Don't worry about it.
This was the other story, and that might be it for me. What is it? It's going on 6 o'clock. You only get an hour out of me.
I'm screaming. Chidi Macha says, shameless plug. I have a great explanation of the Straits, her moves, and Bob L. Mendab on
Millennials are killing capitalism.
2 weeks ago. Chidi Macha, drop the link. Drop the link.
Yeah, drop the link, man. Don't hide it, divide it.
Mm-hmm. Period. Someone said, Sounds of St. Elsewhere said, this is a great lesson on the reality of choke points in the global political economy. I agree. I feel like actually Iran is doing something I think that we all need to see, which is like showing where they have the power.
Who got the power and where it is.
And then Selah said, Iranians are only allowing those who are not supporting the U.S. in a legal state of Israeli to come through.
Yeah, everybody else.
And that's they right. Shit, they own that motherfucker.
Hey.
I mean, sorry. You know what I meant. That's they right, but also free to straight.
Free to straight. Shit, free to U.S. But anyway.
Mine. Or some goddamn, let me up at this hole.
No.
Oh,
Amber, please stop.
It's too much. I said they're taking us through too much. I can't do nothing. Really can't have nothing in this world.
But yeah, did she drop the link? We can't have nothing in this world.
I mean, literally.
Straight up hormones.
All I get to do is play with my dog and play niggas. That's it. We really can't have nothing.
I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that. And I'm gonna keep it moving.
Shirley said, Amber, you a fool. Y'all are funny. I
concur.
Listen, it's so much fun. I have to do something. This goddamn dog thinks he's a 5-year-old child and has to hug my ankles, so I have to make jokes or something because it's already rough over here.
She says already rough. No, we good.
Okay, Chidi Macha said episode internationalist. Okay, I'm trying to find it real quick.
Okay. Well, while you doing that, I'm gonna do this. Ooh, I wish these people would let me live. They just won't let me be great. But anyway.
They just won't let me.
Did it? Okay, what happened? Did it? Oh, maybe that's it. No, that's not it. Okay, that's all right. So I had to go to my Gmail because I tried signing into the New York Times and they was asking for too damn much. So I just said, no, the heck with y'all. So this right here, death by paper. Inmates were overdosing in a Chicago jail. At least 6 had died. It was mysterious. There were no needles, no drug paraphernalia near the victims. Next to one body, there were only scraps of burned paper, bits of ash. That paper, according to reporters Azam Ahmed and Matt Richtel, was the culprit. Dealers sprayed it with toxic new designer drugs that promised ecstatic relief from captivity and often delivered death. A lot of us are facing life in prison, one former inmate told them. To leave that behind, even for a minute, is all you want. Here's what I want to talk about. The other part I want to talk about. Justin Wilkes, the head investigator at the jail, said he soon found the drugs smuggled into the facility on sheets of paper, on the pages of books, on letters and cards and photographs. The jail increased its surveillance of inmates and their visitors, Guards searched more cells. In the mailroom, they inspected every item. It hardly mattered. Smugglers got around them by lacing legal correspondence with the novel drugs. They sent sealed packages that appeared to be from Amazon containing books soaked in drugs. Now, what does that article leave out? Did you search the guards? Did you search the guards?
Of course not. They're not gonna search themselves.
Did you search the guards?
They the
Here in
ones bringing.
California a few years ago, they were all in a tizzy over, oh, cell phones in the prisons, cell phones in prison. How are they getting in? How are they getting in? And when they decided that they wanted to search the guards union said, well, you know, I'm on the clock from the time I walk in from my car and putting on my uniform, that's on the clock. So if you want to go ahead on and search me, you're going to add to this clock.
Okay. And we
And
will.
the lawmakers was like, nah, we don't want to pay for all of that. Oh, you don't? Oh, okay.
Well,
So they didn't search the guards. Mm-hmm. Now, it may have been the LA Times, which I fondly refer to as the LA Crimes for their history. It may have been the LA Times that gave us that story about how the guards union stepped in and said, yeah, you're not going to be searching us. Okay. And here's this story, not asking the question, have you searched the guards? You searching the books, you searching the visitors, you searching everybody and their mama, except who you need to be searching. How does everything else get into the prison? You watch The Wire, you watch, what was it? The Night of, anything on HBO. All these popular representations, people coming in the visit rooms, smuggling, shoving stuff up every orifice that they got. What about the guards? It was one episode on The Wire where they
guards don't do nothing wrong.
Huh?
I said the guards don't do nothing wrong.
The guards they're like the cops. You give them the benefit of the doubt. They are above reproach. Yeah, okay. So anyway, yeah, search the guards, and that's how you'll find out. That's how you're gonna find out what you need to find out. Search the guards. Define guard: the correctional officer, the overseer, the keeper, the one with the keys or the button that can let folk up out the cell. Them people. Search them. Search them. Search them. Search them.
That's exactly what you gotta do.
Huh?
I do have the video pulled up with Chitty Matcha explaining the shit with the straight.
The shit with the straight.
Can we play another YouTube video while we're on YouTube at the same time?
You know what? This stuff is so jacked up. I don't know.
Okay, let's see.
If they lose Israel, if the Palestinian resistance is successful, they lose control over the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. They lose control over the Gulf states monarchs that the West has set up, which means the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. And I don't know I think I sent that map. I don't know if you can pull that up. I just kind of wanted to structurally kind of situate that for people so people really understand that. Oh yeah.
I will pull it up. Just give me a minute. Yeah, go ahead.
Because I'll just go off on a tangent. When things went down in the Sahel, and it was Niger, where they talked about they have tomato canning factories, and they grow tomatoes. They have tomato canning factories, and they themselves can't eat a single tomato. And my thing, I'm like, why the hell are you growing tomatoes native to the Americas? And then I started even becoming aware of all the plants that are native to the Americas that are grown on the African continent to feed Europe. And so this was and I can't even credit where I took this as a screenshot from a video I was watching on YouTube, but just even looking at the supply routes coming from China, going through the Strait of Malacca, which is a choke point where it's between Singapore and Malaysia, if my geography is right. Like they're firmly in the Western camp, like so that's not like a hot spot or an issue. Ships go around, they're coming through, stopping off in Sri Lanka because otherwise that's like a long way to go across water with no like landing. And then you see everything hits through the Bab el Mandeb Strait, going up through the Mediterranean, going up through the Suez Canal, out to the Mediterranean, and through the Strait of Gibraltar, which I probably just pronounced that wrong, but then going and getting supplies to Europe. So that's oil, that's minerals, that's products, food that's not coming from the African continent, although much of Europe's food is being grown on the African continent to feed it because like they don't have food. And so even when you think of just the oil alone, what the United States right now is trying to do to Cuba, to starve it of its oil, to then make the society collapse, is what will happen to Europe. And so looking at Europe not having oil, Europe not getting any of, like it will literally make it collapse, which is why they're so on board with maintaining and keeping Israel, because it is their last stance. Since they don't have Iran, it is their last stance to keep everybody in check and on board with a global pan-European project. Because even the Strait of Hormuz is closed, that oil coming from those Gulf states usually comes out and down through the Strait of Hormuz and then goes back in through the Bab el Mandeb Strait, up the Red Sea, and again following that same route. And so they're fighting for European survival, because if Europe falls, then the United States, that's the United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, the other settler projects, they don't have a strong flank. And that means the global South has the potential to grow, to get what they need. Europe, all these people that, you know, they complain about migration, the migration crisis, but then it's being instigated by the violence that they're creating in the global South to steal people's land. Like it requires extreme violence to steal someone's land, which is what we're watching in Palestine.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was a great explanation, Ashley Chidimatra. So thank you so much for putting us on, especially seeing that visual. That visual was helpful for me.
Yeah, Shane, don't worry about it. Not a shameless plug. All good. We needed that.
Mm-hmm. We did. I need the explanation. Okay, so that makes more sense. So now I have more questions about what Europe might do. So I'm definitely gonna explore those. But it was a helpful breakdown to like understand, you know, where they're going. Also, Chidimatra, you so cute, girl. What you love? What you love, Pete? Okay. Yeah. I see you.
I just got an email. I think I got the email and I deleted it. Somebody's, who is this? Where is it? Just it was a breaking news headline about talks with Trump. First of all, he's a liar. You can't believe a damn thing he says. But anyway, something about
in Memphis today.
Huh?
Trump is actually going to be in Memphis today.
Oh, there's your chance.
There's one
there
chance.
It is.
What chance?
To tell him what you think about the job that he's doing. Yeah.
No, I'm good. There are a lot of stuff. There's a lot of protests and stuff playing though.
Breaking now, when was this? This was sent. Ooh, that was an hour ago. President Trump said he was postpone his deadline for attacking Iran's infrastructure.
I bet he will, because all the motherfuckers is dying.
Said Trump says U.S. and Iran held very good talks on ending conflict. Iran did not immediately comment. That motherfucker lying. He lying.
He lying like a motherfucker. That nigga scared because they losing. They getting their ass whooped. Motherfuckers is getting blown up to pieces. Screams, as the white people would say.
It's a oh shit moment. Like, oh, you hadn't planned for that, had you? Okay.
Nah, they didn't.
I didn't catch
the yeah, he's supposed to be coming here today to talk about the Memphis Unsafe Task Force that's locking all these niggas up and deporting people unjustly. But you know, somehow it's making Memphis so much safer. Memphis, they had a 25% crime reduction before they started the task force. Yeah, them coming here is really gonna change what was already happening. But whatever. One thing about white people, they love to go somewhere and say that they was the one that made it happen. So, not surprised.
I'm over here looking at the chat.
Oh, they had some good stuff in there.
Huh? What'd you say?
I said they be saying some good stuff in there. I'd be like, "Ooh, that's good. Let me use that."
All right, so that was that.
Yeah, I can pull up the article about the Donald Trump thing.
I don't really have a whole lot more. That's my bandwidth. I really just be scrolling and drooling like,
I'm screaming.
Scrolling and drooling.
That's what I was doing in my dream. I was scrolling on my phone in the dream and drooling in real life. It was beautiful sleep though. I was gone. I was dead to the world. A little share thingy.
So I was supposed to find some uplifting stories. I didn't get to that this week, y'all. Next Monday.
It's okay. It happened. This is Action News 5, which is a local station here.
Highlight
and they
the
said,
achievements.
yeah, Donald Trump is coming to Memphis today to highlight the achievements of the Memphis Safe Task Force. It's been 6 months since the Memphis Safe Task Force arrived in Memphis. So for folks who don't know, there have been the federal government sent like 3,000 federal agents to Memphis from like every agency, including like the IRS, the Department of State, like all these people.
Well, hold up 1 second. Let me, because I'm not in Memphis. So you in Memphis? Where are you?
Yeah, look, Memphis.
Okay, so you answer. Tell me. Now, Memphis is where Tyree Nichols was murdered, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those people that murdered him, were they part of a specialized unit?
Yeah.
What was that unit?
The Scorpion Unit.
So what's the Scorpion Unit and what is this Memphis Safe Task Force?
The Scorpion Unit doesn't exist anymore. It was disbanded. It was one of the demands.
But what was it?
It was a specialized unit of people who were basically doing like hotspot policing, which is really just going to black neighborhoods because the terminology they used that it was hotspot policing in high crime areas, but the areas they were in were high crime areas. They were just areas that had a lot of black people because even the area where Tyree Nichols was killed that they were patrolling had only had one homicide that entire year. So it definitely wasn't a hotspot crime area. They just were making shit up because they consider any area where there's a majority of black people a crime-ridden area. So
right, I feel you. So the Scorpion Task Force didn't make folks safer in Memphis.
No.
And this is supposed to make people safer in Memphis.
Right.
Is it me? Does that make sense?
No.
Is it me?
It makes sense. I mean, so first of all, it didn't make sense to us either. I just want to say that.
Thank you.
We, the city, had already been pushing back against this. It wasn't necessary. Before the task force came here, we had already had a 25-year low in crime. Like, we were already hitting like numbers from like the 2000s, early 2000s, because the crime had reduced so much. It was like I think we were at a 40% decrease in crime, specifically like murders and like assault, aggravated assault, stuff like that. So them coming here didn't they didn't change that. Which is what we have been saying this entire time, but people gonna do what the fuck they want. And realistically, Donald Trump said in his speeches, and the governor said too, like, they feel like we're just so crime ridden. They have to come here and fix our city. But they just want to test out a whole bunch of shit because they want to try it at other places, which is what they also said. They were like, Memphis is going to be a model for what they're going to do in other places. And they've been using the stuff that they've been doing here in other cities, like in Minneapolis. Like a lot of the stuff they did in Memphis, they used in Minneapolis. It didn't work, but, it's what they wanted to do. So I pulled up this traffic dashboard I'm going to share this tab instead. Let me see. Okay, share. So when the task force first came to Memphis, one of the demands that we had, like as a coalition of people who were trying to push back against the task force, was a dashboard around the data of what's actually happening, like the actual numbers. And I thought it was important because it shows how ineffective they are. So they've almost 100,000 traffic stops with over almost 90,000 citations. There's only been 8,000 arrests, 9,300 total, but 8,000 physical arrests and 1,200 misdemeanor citations given. But they had to do 100,000 traffic stops to do that. Mind you, the majority of them are misdemeanors and the majority are nonviolent.
Mm-hmm.
So none of this was effective, realistically. They recovered 2,275 firearms, but you've been here for 6 months.
Illegal, quote unquote, firearms, right?
Right. Mind you, we live in an open carry state.
So how is it an illegal firearm?
Exactly.
I'm gonna leave it alone. You know what? I'm gonna leave it alone.
Exactly. So that's why I was saying, like, it's bullshit. But I mean, luckily we were able to force them on some demands, like around like ways to protect people a little bit more, and this data dashboard that I definitely have been using. And I think it's important because people can see, like, oh, this isn't really helpful. We'll go back to the article thing. So the White House is sending a visit today. The task force arrived. Since its launch, the task force has made more than 7,200 arrests and seized nearly 1,200 illegal firearms and located 150 missing children. Overall, crime is down 45% since the task force arrived. Mind you, the crime was down 40% before they got here. So it's not something that they're causing. It was already down. But they're gonna take credit for any little thing. Also, the located 150 missing children, no one believes that here. And I'm so glad that people aren't stupid, because they keep locating all these missing children, and people are like, where's the children? Where's the families that got reunited with their children? No one is talking about it because it didn't happen. And even when people were asking, like, is there a family that got reunited? Like, they're not seeing anything on socials or in the news, but these people are saying that this happened. I was like, that's because y'all are fucking lying. And luckily, people aren't stupid and they don't believe just what anybody tells them. Because to me, if a task force swooping in saved my child and I was able to find my missing child, then I would be talking about it.
They say if a task force swooped in,
they said they are superheroes. They on the Facebook comments talking about these are heroes, and y'all are complaining. Y'all want them to leave. They are finding children. And people are like, where are the children? And they don't say nothing else, cause you can't point them out in a damn locker room. What's kids at? Make it make sense. I don't know. It's bullshit. Right. Tupac said, "Who LOL? Where'd they find them? They won't say. They literally keep just making the number higher and higher. So it went from 20 missing children to 60 missing children to 87 to 100, 120, now 150 missing children. But where are the children coming from? Are you finding them in the woods? Where are they at? But they won't answer any of those questions. So I just said,
because trafficking is a concern, but
yeah. So in celebration of his arrival, the Shelby County Republican Party will be hosting a welcoming event Monday morning at 8 a.m. I guess they're doing it right now. And then Congressman Cohen is set to speak ahead of the visit, sharing his perspective before the president arrives. The press conference is set for 10 a.m. Oh, I'm gonna try to watch that because Congressman Cohen is a bitch. And he's weak. And all he does is send letters and make speeches and thinks that it's gonna be enough. And right now he has an actual opponent going against him, like a big opponent. And so now he's doing all this extra shit he never did before. And I also think that because he's doing all this extra shit he's never done before, he's only turning people against him more because they're like, oh, you don't actually care. You're only really campaigning because you think that this person really could beat you, which he could. And now he's all of a sudden making stop time. I've gotten an email from Congressman Cohen every single day since last November.
Mhm.
Most people say the same exact thing. I'm pretty sure he's telling his staff just send the email every day. Just send it every day. But none of the shit is different information. And they've been doing events. And it's so funny because the person running against him, Justin Pearson, was talking on the news about how we need to bring the Congress to the community and like be having community like events and stuff. The next week, Congressman Cohen started sending out emails about community events that he's doing, Congressman conversations or some shit. And I said, that's so funny. He's such a bitch. Like, oh my God, you couldn't even come up with your own stuff. But he's scared he gonna lose. I think he gonna lose. I think it's pretty obvious now that he's gonna lose because people are like, oh, you don't actually care about us. You're only doing this stuff because someone else mentioned it and you know that you would look good if you did it.
So that's trifling.
Yeah.
So speaking of trifling, I'm serious. I be scrolling, I notice stuff, and then I keep moving, or I go into my deep dive, and then I go watch TV. So we sitting up here, I'm like, you know, I'm trying to give you the explanation. I'm trying to explain myself. What is it? The overload. We ain't said nothing about Cesar Chavez. We ain't said nothing about Cesar Chavez.
I mean, I'm down to talk about it.
No, I'm just saying, like, it's six. I should have led with that, but anyway, I wasn't thinking.
Well, I led with the ICE thing because that's what was been going on like most of the weekend. That's what everybody's been talking about over the weekend. Is the ICE thing?
You know, out this way, they done. He's not erased from history, but they done erased that man's face and name so damn quick.
As they should. They don't never do that for white people.
What, in a white supremacist country, you can't go wrong. You're not going to be held. You have done no wrong. You have done no wrong. So don't even talk about the white man who's president of the United States of America. We're not going to talk about that white man. We're going to talk about this brown man. And I'm serious. A lot of times we say, well, we point out the disparity. That's all we do is point out the disparities. Where's the organizing to defeat these people? I'm not interested in pointing out disparity. That's like an elementary school move. That's all we ever do. And it ends up sounding like we wanted. Well, the white man got away with it. What you saying? You want to get away too? Do you want to get away with it? Is that why you're complaining?
Yeah, they want to get away with the abuse too.
Is that because that's kind of what it sounded like, fam? But at any rate, they done took this man's face and name off. So that it for some people, I'm sure their heads are spinning. They getting whiplash. Folks done broke out the paint cans, the brushes, and are covering up murals. A couple of people done redone the mural and put Dolores on.
Mm-hmm.
They done. I saw one video, a Cesar Chavez Plaza. These people were literally spackling in concrete in the name because it had been chiseled. They was covering it. I was like, God damn.
They not fucking playing.
They are not playing with erasing this. What's the word I'm looking for? The honoring of him. You're not gonna be able to erase Cesar Chavez from history, but they knocking him down a notch in terms of being a pillar. You had never even heard of who? I know you had never even heard of. You never heard of Cesar Chavez? Come on now. I know that's not who you're talking about.
Also, well, I will just say I barely have heard of him. I only knew him from one story.
Okay, well, you know,
and I did not know that. I think that also, if you're from like the South, the type of people that we hear about in movement stuff is usually not labor leaders because they're so anti-labor.
But what about? Well, I was gonna say, what about the workers in the fields?
I have heard that, like the statements, like the workers in the fields, like people who are, like because there's a lot of laborers, like day laborers in Florida. Like I've heard of that, but like I didn't know.
Well, I'm still a baby. That's hilarious. Y'all have to forgive me and remind me because I'll be like, How do you not know? Okay, there are lots of ways people do not know. So yeah, you do not know. Okay. So Cesar Chavez was a Mexican farm worker and labor leader, along with Dolores Huerta and the United Farm Workers, and they joined with Filipino farm workers out here in California in the 1960s because all of the workers were being mistreated. But there was a major movement from the 60s into the 70s, and go ask your people about it, because there were still times in the 70s, 80s, and 90s people were like, don't eat grapes. I don't remember why, just don't eat grapes. The movement to boycott grapes was so impactful that even after they called off the boycott and had won concessions, people was like, I'm still not eating grapes. So out here in California, as you leave Los Angeles and go up, Bakersfield, all those areas, if you look on the map of California, all going all the way up, it's farmland. And they produce a lot of the food for the US as well as other countries. And so they got to get somebody out there, just like you had to have somebody picking cotton, you got to have somebody picking this food, right? And it has been farm workers of Mexican descent. In the 60s, they were Filipinos. I don't think their numbers are the same as they were then. But Filipino farm workers, Mexican farm workers, that was the work they were doing, back-breaking work, dangerous work, being ruthlessly exploited, not being paid correctly, etc. And so there was a movement for that. Now, here's the thing. Chavez and Dolores engaged in xenophobic, anti-communist behavior. They aren't representative of the wider labor struggle. I'm quite sure they are not representative. And yes, Cesar Chavez was anti-immigrant. I did not know this as a child growing up. I learned this later in life. You know, he would be calling Mexicans wetbacks. I was like, ooh. And the illegal immigrants. I was like, ooh, dang.
Cesar Chavez?
Cesar Chavez, yes.
Yeah, somebody else said in the chat that they knew that he was anti-immigrant. Mm-hmm. I mean, I also think this is the example of the wrong motherfuckers becoming famous, because obviously not only was he a little racist against his own people, but he also was an abuser.
Now, the thing about Dolores, anti-communist behavior, I saw one numbskull said, I'm not even going to say what that numbskull said. The point being, there's what you do in the labor movement and whether or not you are violating someone or being violated. Those are two different things. Dolores Huerta and other credible voices, as reported in the New York Times, after what they're saying is a 5-year investigation, Cesar Chavez was abusive and grooming and sexually assaulting grown women and girls. Dolores Huerta was one of those. She did not deserve that because of quote unquote anti-communist behavior. Nobody deserves that. No one deserved that. We believe, well, maybe I shouldn't speak for Amber. We believe survivors over here. And when I say I believe survivors, I believe women, it's because historically, police have been called in certain instances, domestic violence instances. And instead of investigating the claims, they shrug it off. In many instances, they'll leave the abuser right there, predominantly 9 times out of 10, it's a male abuser and a female victim. I said predominantly, so don't y'all come up in here talking about no damn Tommy Curry. The point being, they will leave the abuser with the victim, and that now puts them in even more danger. Believing the women, the survivors, believing the victims, it means that you are going to investigate to find out whether or not it's true, not to just dismiss it outright. So investigate. That's my thing. Investigate. It's not your place to decide, I don't believe this, or just calm down or go on and, be nice to him or what. No. Investigate what this is a crime. Investigate. Right. And then when you get to the court of law, we'll see guilt or innocence. But right now, protect this person who has called for your assistance. So we believe survivors over here. All right. I just had to do that real quick.
Yeah, no, I think it's worth saying. Someone in the chat said they have schools named after him on the West Coast.
They have elementary schools, they have community centers, they have academic departments and academic centers on campuses. They have streets named after Cesar Chavez, and they have murals. And everybody in their mama who got some of that is talking about now either renaming or has renamed or has covered up the mural, or like I said, cemented in where his name was. It is wild out here in California. It is wild. Go on Instagram, for those of you who have an account, and just put in Cesar Chavez. You can see in real time videos putting up the whiting over him and then putting up a new one.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody is in Atlanta or has spent any time in Atlanta, you know how everything is named Peachtree. Now imagine streets, community centers, academic departments, elementary schools, and murals of peach trees.
Mm-mm-mm.
I
think it's also an example of why we should stop celebrating men.
Individuals. Stop celebrating individuals.
Got to. Someone else said, Shimashi said, I'd never heard of him until I moved to California. I think that's kind of a normal thing, though. I think it's completely different on the East Coast than people realize. Mm-hmm. Dre said, I just knew that Cesar was anti-immigrant. And when you said that comment, Cesar, I was like, okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because I will say, as someone who lives on the East Coast, I have heard of Cesar Chavez. I heard of them like boycotting for farm worker rights, and that's it. That's all I knew. They do not go into detail.
It has had a global impact, but still, everybody hadn't heard of him. So I mean,
But honestly, I'm kind of glad because he was a fuck nigga.
Somebody help me up. Somebody help me up. I can't get up.
Oh my God.
And I can't get up.
Get up.
She said,
also, thank y'all so much for joining us. We're at 150 folks watching. Make sure y'all are liking, commenting, and subscribing. Today is Monday, March 23rd, 2026. It is 8:27 a.m. on my side. It's 6:27 on C's way side. We're waking up early for you on our extremely insane time zones because we're trying to bring out the news. So you should give us some super chats, drop a little 5, a little 10 in there, a little 20 if you're feeling generous. Make sure you subscribe to our Patreon. Me and Josh are actually doing some special content. Me and Cesar are probably gonna put some stuff together too. So there'll be some content from us on there as well. And you can also donate directly to Black Liberation Media, like on our website too, which is in the comment, which is in the description. And somebody said he had his own border patrol. Did you know about that, Cesar?
I had no idea about that, but I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. Why are they investigating a guy that died in 1993? I don't know. You have to read the New York Times article. They said they received credible tips 5 years ago. So I don't know why. I don't personally have a problem with that.
Devin said Chavez was calling immigration on marginalized scabs, breaking the protest lines instead of organizing these vulnerable workers.
Yeah, they should have definitely organized the vulnerable work. The most.
I feel like that's the type of shit we should have been talking about when this was happening.
Mm-hmm.
Because finding all this out later on, I just think they're never beating the allegations. Men are never beating the allegations.
Well, that's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah. And Leah said she was not saying that she deserved it, but all of this is playing out, and I didn't know any of this, so they're looking to learn. They're like learning in real time.
Now look at this one. The UFW and Chavez were also not representative of the more radical Chicano movement. What was the radical Chicano movement talking about? Farm workers. Now that's something that I need to know more about. I know about Corky. I'm not going to try and say his last name because I messed it up. But there was There were radical Chicano organizers in Texas, California, and in Denver, Colorado. I was surprised to know they were in Colorado. Okay, so but were they talking about farm workers though? Is the question? Mm-hmm. It's an Epstein distraction. The intent is to say the sexual crime is not limited to rich Europeans. They want equal opportunity issue. Okay, but just like with
I don't know if I would agree with it though, because Dolores is the one who told her story.
The thing about what about Epstein? Epstein is locked up with his wheelchair. He's locked up with his wheelchair right now. So when you say they're distracting,
what is a distraction from?
Well, Epstein was locked up, and then I won't say he committed suicide, but the point being is Trump is still sitting in office. That's the point being. I understand that. Mm-hmm. I don't know if this is a distraction. It's something that needed to happen. People kept saying, well, what about Epstein? Well, Epstein is getting his still, not Epstein. What about Weinstein? What about Harvey Weinstein? Mm-hmm. Oh, Lord. Now, who is this that has entered the chat? Epstein is somewhere alive. He hanging out with Tupac. Anyway, my point being, I'm just saying. What are you saying, Tanya? I'm just saying. Everything is not always a distraction. Some things need to happen. Obviously, President Trump needs to be held accountable. That's obvious. Ain't nobody say, who's it, Trump and whoever else is in his files. They all need to be held accountable. He says, no, I'm not trolling. Okay.
That's so funny. I pulled up the thing about the mural too. Hold on.
Oh my God. It's insane what's happening with these murals and these streets.
Cesar Chavez mural replaced with Dolores Huerta and Watts after sexual assault allegations.
It's just one.
Yeah, it's just one. A well-known mural in Watts featuring farm worker movement leader Cesar Chavez has now undergone a major facelift to replace him with civil rights icon Dolores Huerta. Let's see the video. Oh, they covering it up. They covering it.
Oh, you showing it? You
yeah.
show it? Oh. I'm trying to find some too.
It's showing, baby. They covering that thing on up. You hear me?
Okay. I say you hear me.
Get the fuck on about her. No. And they started drawing the Dolores one.
Yeah.
Period. Okay, little Dolores. I also put up another article that had information about the allegations, but they wanted me to sign into something. So
right.
Because they act like you can't. I also think that one thing I will say about this is that it's showing that like there were other people in the movement that we really didn't know about. Because if you weren't, I feel like if you weren't in California, you didn't even know who Dolores Huerta was. I didn't know there were more people because he really positioned the movement in a way that made it seem like he was the only one.
Who is that? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm trying to read these comments. I'm trying to get to y'all.
Okay, so this is an article from CNN. It says, Dolores Huerta's civil rights legacy was inextricably linked to Cesar Chavez, and then she accused him of abuse. I want to get this big ass thing from my head.
I can you're going in and out, Amber. What are you saying?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, I was trying to get this article that talks about Dolores Huerta.
Mm-hmm.
Days before the New York Times published the bombshell allegation of sexual abuse that would upend the legacy of farm labor rights leader Cesar Chavez, Delia Garcia answered a phone call from her longtime friend Dolores Huerta. She said, "Let's have a conversation, and I need you to be sitting down." Then Huerta, who co-founded the famed United Farm Workers Union with Chavez and served as his right hand for decades in their fight to secure labor rights for farm workers, revealed a secret she had been holding on to for about 60 years. Garcia said the 95-year-old recounted 2 times when she said Chavez sexually assaulted her. Where she began to cry was when she was talking about the victims and not herself. referencing the two other women who alleged in the Times investigation that Chavez groomed and assaulted them when they were minors. In this moment where she's sharing something so raw, she's in the moment caring about others. That she added shows the character of Dolores Huerta. The allegations against Chavez have cast a pall, has cast a pall over his legacy, and the fallout has been swift. But the revelations have also brought renewed focus on Huerta, a woman who helped Chavez lead a national movement that upended the status quo for labor rights and whose contributions were at times overshadowed by a man who she alleged was her abuser. First of all, that's so true because I had never heard this lady.
Mm-hmm.
Like they literally only talk about Cesar Chavez. I didn't even know that she co-founded it.
Right. Because you're not in
Dolores made a movie in 2007 highlighting how the movement was about communities coming together. Oh, I need to find that. Sayla, if you remember the name of it, can you drop it in the chat?
So what she was saying is that she did not want these allegations or whatever about Cesar to overshadow the movement and to discredit the movement. And number one, that's a crazy thought, and I'm not judging. I'm not trying to judge. I'm saying that's a crazy thought that we have to get over. That us speaking our truths about human rights violations within movements for human rights is going to harm the movement for human rights. And I'm not a victim of Cesar Chavez's abuse, but I'm going to say this. There is nothing that Cesar Chavez did that should be taken to mean that farm workers do not deserve human rights. The only people that would try to even make that link are our enemies, our conservatives, these white racist fucks. There, I said it. I was trying to stop cussing so much. We got to stop talking about and abusers. Those are the only two groups of people that want us to remain quiet about abuse. Don't say anything bad about the Panthers. Don't talk about Huey's abuse. Don't talk about Eldridge's abuse. Don't talk because then no, fuck all of that shit. Now you really got me cussing. Fuck all of that shit. Mm-hmm. Nothing that they have done, nothing that Panther leaders have done should suggest that Black people are not deserving of self-defense and human rights. I don't give a damn what they did. And you're right, they didn't do it to me. I don't care. I will always support the fight of the Black Panther Party and other Black liberation organizations for the human rights of Black people, for standing up and saying it, demanding it, and in many instances taking it. Now, what they did behind closed doors, quote unquote, that needs to be dealt with. But speaking about that abuse, that's not saying that we are not deserving of human rights. Just like Dolores saying what happened to her should not diminish the fact that farm workers have a right not to be exploited. So we got to get out of this mindset that our keeping quiet about abuse is protecting the movement. The movement ain't worth a damn and don't need to be protected if it is abusing its membership, let alone regular folk who ain't in the membership. You understand? If it's a movement, you protect the people. Get the abusers out. I mean, if you're a movement for human rights and liberation, if you Catholic Church, that's different. You move them around someplace. But we're not the Catholic Church.
Agreed.
So
KJ said, let me pull it up. You could, Tondi, abuse should never be pushed aside regardless of names involved. People and movements and in general deserve their safety and rights respected. Exactly.
I mean, that's why we say we fight depression. Our safety and rights have not been respected. Our lives, we don't have the right to exist. We are fighting against depression, and you're going to be oppressive to someone else? Say what? No, fam, no. We got to get that out of our head that we are protecting our movements. If we're truly protecting our movements, we will tell.
Yeah.
And actually go beyond telling, do something about the shit. like I said, going back to believing survivors, investigate and find out. If you're Amber, if I don't know about Amber, let me stop speaking for Amber. But I would think that if Amber was accused of a heinous crime, she would want an investigation to clear her name. Who does not want an investigation to clear the name? Somebody who can't be cleared? Possibly. Maybe. I don't know. What y'all think? The fuck? Anyway.
No, you're right.
She said, no, you're right.
I agree with you. Sure.
After all that, you're right.
You on the thumb.
Now, let me say this real quick, too.
Chitty Matcha said she made a huge sacrifice that she shouldn't have felt the need to make. I agree. And I understand, like, I do feel like we have built up, like what you're saying, but we have built up this idea that like the movement matters more. That has become so dangerous. Because to think that somebody was assaulted several times and became pregnant both times and had to have children, that nigga would have been dead fucking
this is in the 60s when abortion is illegal. She did not abort those
Black people made away. Black people made away. I don't know. She should have had some black community around her because we was making away in the 60s too.
She should have had some
little cotton root somewhere or something. I don't know what to tell you, girl.
I'm just saying. I mean, you know, it probably sounds horrific. I'm saying this because I'm not a mother. I don't know if I can look at proof of my rape every day.
I couldn't be pregnant. That's what I'm saying. It couldn't have been me. I don't know. She's stronger than me because the moment I realized there was a pregnancy, there wouldn't be a pregnancy.
So there wouldn't be one, right?
There wouldn't be one. There is no way I would allow myself to feel that level of trauma. And I think that's putting so much on yourself that she did not deserve. Like you're enduring a extreme level of trauma because you don't want to, like, you know, upend whatever movement people have created around.
What people are saying now is what she should have understood. They're saying that the movement is bigger than one person. So the hell would say to Chavez, uplift her and uplift the farm workers. Yes, Dolores, the movement's bigger than him. Move this motherfucker out the way and let's get on with it. But a couple of things I wanted to say about her real quick. The anti-communism aspect. And you know, Dr. Sharice Burton-Stelly, who's here on the platform, has done excellent work in that area, talking about Black Scare, Red Scare. I'm not trying to defend her and Black people, but kind of, sort of, during this time in the 50s, it was said that there was an I'm moving quick, I'm paraphrasing. A guy that they were trying to hire or work with, she asked the FBI, I guess she went to the FBI, as opposed to waiting on the McCarthyists to come to her. She asked them, is this guy a communist? And there's like, we looked into his background, he's not a communist. She's like, okay, whatever. So the point being, I remember civil rights interviews of civil rights leadership talking about downplaying certain aspects because they didn't want to be linked to communism because they felt that would make their fight for civil rights that much harder. Okay. You know, it's liberal politics, respectability politics, integrationist politics, but at the same time, I have benefited from the civil rights movement. I have benefited psychologically. I have benefited in terms of policies. I don't know what it's like to grow up with colored signs, white only, not being able to go, quote unquote, where I want. I don't know what that's like. I got people in my family still alive who know what that's like. So I have benefited psychologically. I don't know what it's like to be, as a child, to know that you can't go someplace. Revolutionary politics, not necessarily, but I still have respect for the civil rights movement. It was a hard choice that a lot of them had to make. And I can imagine it was the same thing with the farm workers.
And I think that everything is open to critique too. Like this idea that we also discuss. I'm not saying I don't think they should have done it, but like not the Dolores but the civil rights movement. I'm saying they shouldn't have done some of it, but I wouldn't have done some of it, and I would have pushed back a little bit. But that's me, and I know people have different politics. And at the
And
time,
it probably was people at the time pushing back.
Yeah, and people
they didn't win it.
Involved, and there weren't as many dissenting voices in the room in the same way. KJ also said, horrible thing to go through, but like Amber said, no woman should become pregnant against their will. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And then someone else said, it was Revolutionary Black Woman Radio, said that is actually what women and femmes, particularly of color, are socialized into. Sacrificing yourself, suppressing your trauma, and bear the burdens on behalf of a world that doesn't protect you. This is so true. I was talking about something like this yesterday, not to this extreme of like, you know, being pregnant against your will, but just the idea that like Black women and femmes don't speak up for themselves, because someone was talking about how like I was talking to this nigga, and he was talking about how he had dated women in the past who would allow relationships to continue, like with family members, even though they were draining or they weren't good relationships. They would say like, "Oh, this is toxic," but they would still go to events with them, or they were like, "I still have to go support my mom at this thing," even though they didn't get along with their mom or their mom had done something harmful. And like this idea that like suffering is your birthright type shit that I hate. Like I hate the idea that we have to sacrifice and suppress our emotions. No one else is doing that. And it goes from like little things like that, like being around abusive parents, to big things like being abused by someone and having a child by them, even though you didn't want to, and it was all against your will. Like it's from the smallest things to the biggest of things, which is why I think it's so important to like teach children autonomy so early and that with them, because even the smallest thing like forcing a child to give you a hug can lead to behaviors like them getting hit by somebody they dated and thinking it's not a big deal because people don't listen to them when they say what they don't want. Starting with this small thing. So I just wanted to respond to Revolutionary Women's Radio about that, because I thought that was a good point that you made, and just make the note that it's not just about these big things though. It's about every little thing, which is why I don't let shit slide around here. On this motherfucker. Ain't a damn thing for the slide around here.
So several years ago, I got it in my head that I wanted to do some type of, I can't even remember now, my memory. It had to do with domestic violence victims. I wanted to be some type of certified somebody. I can't remember what it was. I can't say counselor, but it was something. And at any rate, I had to go through this certification. And I'm bringing this up because of socialization, right? So the person who was doing the certifying was she was a sister, former LA sheriff's deputy who had been in a relationship with a cop, LAPD, and he abused her. And the certification classes were being held at a police station. That was bad enough as it is. But in order to pass certification, they said you need to go on a ride along. I was like, I'm not getting in no police car. I never got my certification. But before I dropped out, we were in a class one day and she said something that has stayed with me forever. And I want you to apologize if I chuckle, because there are times where I laugh at the absurdities of life. She said that when now this is based on her doing domestic violence work. I don't care if you call it anecdotal or scientific. She said it to us. I'm saying it to y'all. She said that when Black women call the police on Black men, they're not doing it because they want harm to come to the Black men. They're doing it because they want the violence to stop. And then she said, Latina women are socialized not to talk to the police. She said, you will go on a call to a Latina household, and a Latino woman will have a knife stuck in her neck, blood flowing down, and she will say, it's no problem. It's making me want to laugh right now. I'm like, huh? Say what now? And that's exactly how she said it. It's no problem. Are you sure, ma'am? It's no problem. So yeah, they've been socialized like we have all been socialized. Don't talk to the cops. Don't put the Black man in jeopardy. You don't want a Black man going to, okay. Yeah, all right. And how's that working out for us? How's that working out for us?
Right. They're so with the shit. But I mean, that is true though. I mean, I think of like when Megan Thee Stallion said she didn't want to call the police on Tory Lanez, like because she don't want him to get killed, and she only had to call because she was shot. And she even then she didn't press charges against
You don't
him.
want nothing
She
bad
lied
happening
about
to
what
the man
happened.
that shot you. Do you see how? But can we like examine this now, and see how crazy this sounds? No,
Right.
we're not doing this no more. We're not doing this no more. We're not doing it. We're not doing it. You know what? It's almost 2 hours. When is this? What's the show? 5 to 7 for me? It's not 5 to 8, right? No, it's 5 to 7. 2 hours,
We
right?
only got 10 minutes left.
Okay, so real quick, I got my hoodie of Baba Sekou Odinga. Long live Sekou. Black Panther Party, Black Liberation Army, PGRNA, from the Shed in Detroit, Michigan. Shout out to the Motor City.
Because they love your swag.
And I don't know if Matt Clubbin or is it Matt Clubbin or Matt Clubbin? Matt Clubbin is here. Shout out to Matt Clubbin. He always supports root work. I appreciate that.
I agree with Devin. This is exactly why we need community accountability. I think that we wouldn't have people having to depend on police systems in like this, in the brink of immense harm. And we would have, Latino women or Mexican women lying about the harm being caused to them if we had community accountability. Because, in the 70s, when we talk about abolition and abolitionist practices, in the 70s, when niggas was out here molesting children or raping them, they put them niggas in the middle of the street, put tires around their body, and set them hoes on fire. And I just think that's a great difference.
That's how like what they was doing in South Africa with the necklace.
Yeah, like I mean, they took the practices from their ancestors. I just think that we don't use community accountability and community deterrence enough, and that if niggas start with stabbing people, stabbing their wives, and their hands got cut off, motherfuckers wouldn't be stabbing no more. I don't know. Maybe that's me. But I saw it work in the 70s and the 80s. I've read plenty of books about abolition and TJ practices, transformative justice practices, and restorative justice and what that looks like. And it actually looks like allowing communities to decide what they want for themselves. And that can look like somebody being burnt up in the street or somebody doing a restorative justice circle. It depends on what they want, but we have to re-implement that. And that's why I'm so passionate about abolition and communities having control over what they want for themselves. That's
Somebody told me this story once about it was 2 groups of people that wanted to lose weight. Group A talked about losing weight, and Group B actually lost weight. Do you see the difference?
Yeah.
I get tired of hearing, oh, we need to do community accountability. Duh, nigga.
Yeah.
Do it. Stop saying we need it and freaking do it. Damn. We need community accountability. Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
We need to stop talking about community accountability, and we need community accountability.
And I think the one thing I hear the most is that when I'm talking about it, hold on, goddamn. I'm
not
sorry.
The dog. Did the dog turn off the light?
Dog, he turning off lights, he unplugging computers. Lord Jesus,
he's like, you've been talking too long. You need to play with me.
Yeah, that's how you feel. That's
I
how
see
you
him.
feel.
Yeah.
You see him?
Yeah, he like, come on, mommy.
After he unplugged the light, I mean,
time to go. Time to go.
Dunn and Nunn said community control of safety and health is essentially very true. It's essential, very true. Yes, I agree. And I think that's one thing I talk about what that could look like because so many people don't know what it could look like because they never experienced it and because we've literally beaten the creativity, the imagination out of people and install these carceral systems in their head. But I also practice the same things I'm talking about, so people can also see it in practice. It's really important, not just for them, but also for me to reinforce the things that I want to believe because sometimes I too want a nigga, but I don't.
You want to?
I don't.
Yeah. You want to do? You want to do what? What do you want to do?
A nigga. I don't want to say it in case we get got.
Well, that's what need to happen. But yeah, okay, I feel you.
I mean, like our thing get like dinged.
Oh, okay, well then no, let's not say it.
Yeah.
Where's the
Revolutionary Women's Radio said exactly, encouraging a culture of silence. Fine if you don't want to call the cops, but then what is the community doing to deal with the abuser and protect survivors? Exactly. When I was learning my TJ practice, like learning to do like to lead transformative justice circles and transformative justice like round table type discussions, or like to come in and like support families, we watched some really good circles from families in Canada, because they have like tribes, they're like tribal, they have indigenous tribes there still, and they talked about how this father was abusive and they kicked him off of the reservation, they removed him from the community, and then they came in and did circles with them, but the entire community was like participating, so the whole reservation was going to the community room on this day at this time to participate in this transformative justice circle to restore the harm that this father caused to his children and his wife, but also for him to resolve the harm that he caused to the community, because it's all connected. It's not just about what you do in your family, which is why I hate when Black people say, what goes on in this house stays in this house. So that's not true. That's not communal in any way. And you can be causing harm and don't even realize it because you're so stuck in your own bubble. But they also show why it was important to heal the harm that the father had caused to the entire community as well. And I think that that's really important for people to see. And I don't think that we see it enough. And maybe we could do a special episode on it one time, Tandy. But I do think that you have to do it in theory and praxis. Because it can't just be the theories I believe in. It has to be my actual praxis my actual praxis and my commitment to my Black radical politics has to be real enough for me to also believe the same things I'm talking about. And a lot of niggas don't practice the shit they be talking about. They believe it, but they don't have no praxis behind it. And then when stuff happens, shit go left because they're not used to even practicing the things that they keep pushing for.
Okay.
Yes, Selah, exactly. They don't believe we have the right to do it because they have been socialized to keep the policing systems. And that's been the hardest thing for me to try to break people out of, because we are the idea of carceral systems is ingrained so deeply in you from the moment you're born, from your parents who whoop your ass when they really don't need to hit you, to the schools you go to that treat you like you're in jail with white brick walls, and you got to stand in this line and walk straight and don't speak. You can't talk except for 30 minutes in the cafeteria at lunch. You're talking in the classroom. It's too much. Like, what are we doing here? These are kids. I'm 5. I'm in kindergarten.
Getting them ready for institutionalization.
Exactly. To middle school, where I treat you the same way, to high school. You don't get no freedom until you go to college. If you go to college, that's insane.
If you make it to college, yeah.
That's 20 years of ingraining a carceral policing system into someone, like the socialization of that and pulling out any kind of imagination or any kind of creativeness you would have for something different. Then that's very hard to change. So I give people grace. That's what I'm trying to, the purpose of me saying that, I give people grace, but I also definitely still be on them about, hey, we still got to change this.
Real quick, I wanted to put a link in the chat. I did a show. If it wasn't last year, it was a couple of years ago. Black women's responses to harm in the Black liberation movement. It was based on a paper I was going to present at a conference, but I couldn't go. And it was based on publicly available sources like women's memoirs and autobiographies and a couple of oral histories. And, these sisters talked about when they were in the Panthers or in the US organization or this organization or that organization, what they would do, what they experienced, what they did, or what they heard had happened. And I know one organization, the US organization, they had a paramilitary wing. Well, the men were already paramilitary, but they extended some of the training to the sisters. And the sister who gave the interview said that some of those brothers thought they could put their hands on the sisters. And they said them sisters waited for them brothers in the alley one night and handled the business to the point where the brother who was over security called a meeting with the sister who was over the sisters in security. She's like, I can't have you beating up these brothers. She said, well, tell them to keep their hands to themselves. Solid.
Right.
Okay. So they reached an understanding. He said, you can't be beating up my soldiers. Tell your soldiers keep their hands to themselves.
Right. Because they thought they was the police. Because one thing about the police, they're going to beat their wives and they're going to beat people.
You should have learned in kindergarten, keep your hands to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So at what point did it change to keep your hands to yourself unless you're doing something I don't like? Unless you're not following my orders, unless you're not doing what I want. No, player, no. We don't do that over here. And if
Zero
we
PE, you made me laugh too, by the way. I know Leah said you made Zero PE. He said something funny, and Leah said you made me laugh, and I just said Zero PE, you made me laugh too.
What happened? What I missed?
Somebody's talking about some stupid stuff. That's not gonna change. You know.
Yeah, who is that person? Why do you use a derogatory term to refer to each other? Because I'm upset and holding certain people in disdain, and that's how I show it. Huh?
Also, I can do what I want.
He said, that's why you do it.
I run this. I choose the free will that I want to use for the internet that I pay for.
When I was younger, I tried to stop using the word nigga. I can't remember how long it lasted, but I was like, but these niggas out here?
Yeah.
I know people find that offensive. I know
people find it offensive, but it's my word. I use what I want. I think
it's ingrained at this point.
I feel like we spend so much time policing people's language who don't have any real power. All I got in this world is cuss words, my dog, and my free will. Goddamn.
You trying to take one of them from me. Stop trying to take one from me.
The police will kill me tomorrow. Can I at least cuss? Shit. I just think that people will choose any little thing because realistically, we was really on this joint throwing straight bars. So they had to pick something random to be like, oh, I just don't think you should be using that language.
What? Wait. Zero said he can language police his ass on away from me. That's what he can do.
Period.
Let the chat get him. We ain't got to say nothing. Just let the chat get him. Yeah. All right, it's about time. It's about time, yeah. Mr. Arthritis.
We did that. No, we did that though, Tandy.
We got through it without the DJ. Okay.
Drop off if y'all want to drop some super chats, especially for all the good cuss words that I dropped today. You know, now is the time. Now is the time. And all the, the great knowledge I laid on y'all about TJ practices. And somebody in the chat, Seasway said we definitely should do an episode on it. So I'm always down.
Just let me know.
Josh said great broadcast.
You did?
Yeah, in the chat. Yeah. And then Dun and Nunn said free West Asia, free Africa, free Iran, period.
Free it all, shit. Free it all.
It said Amber quote t-shirts. I did take a picture of the one that y'all said I should put on a shirt. So I will definitely send it to Renee.
No, I ain't got one more. No, I don't.
Your prayer is funny, bro.
I'm about to go lay down. That's what I'm about to do.
I'm so glad y'all enjoyed it. Y'all see how good the show is when I wake up 6 minutes before we're supposed to be on the stream? Hey.
6 minutes before. I had to get up 30 minutes before, but at any rate.
Free us all. That's the call. Period. I know that's right, Leah. I actually am up pretty early usually. Like I'm usually up like an hour early. Mm-hmm. But I have added a new nigga to my roster. And it has been keeping me up because I'm trying to layer everybody in there. And yesterday was hard because my favorite one FaceTimed me when I was talking to the new one. I had to get out there joint and answer the FaceTime and then circle back. So then I ended up being up later because I had to circle back.
What's that song on Kendrick's? Well, maybe it wasn't a song. It was like an interlude. Now, my other nigga, he be... Now, mind you, she talking to one of her niggas now. Now, my other nigga, okay, all right.
I mean, the favorite knows that there's another one. I'm waiting on him to drop his other one, and I'll drop my other one. And then we can discuss it.
I'm
GOP
leaving.
sent us $1.99 and said, "Great show, love the language. Appreciate you, brother." Yeah.
We appreciate it all.
Someone
But
else asked,
I'm about to
how
get up out
often
of
do
here.
y'all come on?
We are.
Me and
I
Tanya-
am here on Mondays.
Yeah, me and Tanya do the show on Mondays. I'll be here next Monday too.
Yeah.
I'm here the rest of the month. I just had that doctor's appointment last week, but yeah, join us Hot Pepper Show TV next Monday. We'll be on at 7 a.m. my time, 8 a.m. Eastern, 8 to 10, 7 to 9. And what's that for you, Tanya? 6 to
5
8?
a.m. Los Angeles time, Pacific time. Now I'm supposed to do root work. I said I was going to do it at 4 o'clock today. I'm not doing it today. Have to do it next week. I'll do some shows next week though.
Devin said, player. I'm really not a player though. Am I really a
You're
player?
not a player. You just crush a lot. Okay, I'm going. I'm out of here. Goodbye.
If all the people know about each other, am I a player though? Or am I running a team roster and we going through March Madness right now and somebody gonna win a championship?
Going through. That's it. I'm going. Goodbye. You can stay here and talk about what you want to talk about. Amber, I'm
I
going.
have nothing else to talk about. Bye guys. Thank y'all for joining.
No, don't leave on my account. I'm just saying I'm out of here now. I'm gone.
No, you're fine. Please.
Goodbye.
Oh
Amber.
my gosh.
I'm not rushing you. I'll stay here with them. Goodbye.
Amber needs to come out with a book. You know, maybe in my old age.
No, wait, where's it at? Where's the one that I just saw? March Madness. Yeah, Coach Amber. I'm out. Goodbye.
Yeah, I am, Coach. Peace, y'all.
I got to go. Goodbye.
Only if you're willing to fight for it, like Jab and Fred Hampton says. Appreciate y'all. See you next Monday.
Black Liberation Media is a collective of Black and African organizers, journalists, academics, and media personalities serving Black and African masses seeking to further grow in their understanding of themselves, their histories, and the African world through entertainment and news. Please continue to like, subscribe, and donate to the channel so we can further serve you and liberate our people. You can also go to blkliberationmedia.org, get some merchandise, and also become a Patreon member and a member from the YouTube. Please do what you can, share, and show your love as we will show ours for you. Black Liberation Media.